Welcome back. In part 1, we uncovered the captivating world of When Stars Gossip and its intriguing beginnings. Now, in part 2, let's dive deeper into the drama, secrets, and unforgettable moments that keep us hooked. Stay tuned. Back in space, Ryong finds himself in a precarious situation, struggling to breathe after accidentally choking on a piece of apple that got caught in his throat. At the same moment, their spacecraft jolts violently, struck by debris from what appears to be a floating spacesuit. Eve springs into action, performing a zero-gravity version of the Heimlich maneuver and successfully dislodging the obstruction in Ryong's airway. Eve is visibly unhappy about Ryong's presence on their mission, as her thinly veiled remarks about his space tourist role make clear. However, her commitment to professionalism prevents her from being outright hostile, even if she's frustrated by having to deal with a civilian who, despite his determination to help, is clearly out of his depth. A prime example of this is Ryong's well-meaning but impractical attempt to offer medical assistance. He volunteers to stitch up her toes, despite having no experience in handling delicate tasks like threading a needle in zero gravity. Still, Eve reassures him that she'll manage when he hesitates due to the lack of localized anesthesia. Her words are pure bravado, yet she doesn't bother masking her pain, choosing to let it show rather than put up a front. One of the most delightful aspects of her character is her unwavering passion for science. She can't hide her excitement when two fruit flies unexpectedly hitch a ride on the spaceship, having stowed away with the fruit brought aboard by Spanish astronaut Santiago González Garcia, played by Alex Hafner, as his personal item to share with the crew. Since the flies are in the middle of mating, Eve passionately argues for delaying the spaceship's docking to let them finish their activity. Her enthusiasm is utterly contagious, and Ryong finds himself captivated, not by the flies he amusingly names Public and Indecency, but by Eve herself. Credit must go to Lee Min-ho for his ability to perfectly convey the spellbound expression of a man enchanted by his leading lady. Back on Earth, humanity watches with bated breath as they follow the broadcast, puzzled over why the astronauts have not entered the space station to join the waiting crew. Santiago contacts Kang Tae-hui, Lee L., the head of Seoul's Mission Control Center, MCC, to explain the delay to her and the rest of the team. This sets off a humorous moment involving jokes about fly mating habits, which amuse both my inner child and Park Dong-ah, Kim Joo-hun, a former astronaut and Eve's current partner. While I found the banter about fly reproduction far more entertaining, there were also risque comments about how space travel might be affecting Santiago physically. Interestingly, it's the investigation into Santiago's unusual sperm morphology that inadvertently sparked the chain of events revealing the classified reason for Ryong's mission. Chairman Choi's son faced fertility challenges due to irregular sperm, which hindered his and Min-young's attempts to conceive, even with IVF. Inspired by a study suggesting that sperm abnormalities might improve in zero gravity, Min-young believes a successful IVF attempt could be possible by using her late husband's frozen sperm in space. Chairman Choi, determined to secure an heir, supports this unconventional plan and collaborates with Ryong. However, while experimentation on human sperm is approved aboard the space station, conducting similar procedures with human eggs remains prohibited. Ryong's mission now has an extra layer of deception. He must transport Min-young's eggs, which need to stay frozen during their journey, onto the space station hidden in his carry-on. It's a difficult task, but Chairman Choi has the resources and a team of loyal employees to make it happen. To carry out the plan, they design a special container that will maintain the perfect temperature for both their ice cream and Min-young's eggs as they are sent into space. On the outside, the MZ brand ice cream seems like nothing more than a promotional stunt, as obvious as a Copico product placement. However, the real trick is that Min-young's eggs are cleverly concealed in the false bottom of the vanilla ice cream cup. Naturally, a wild scheme like this was never destined to unfold without complications. Is it any wonder that Eve chooses the vanilla ice cream instead of Ryong's mango selection? Or that she grows instantly wary of what might be lurking in the dessert and insists on checking it for anything harmful, a process that includes heating the ice cream. And, of course, she crushes and discards the container before Ryong has a chance to see the, likely ruined, eggs. What a disaster. But, as fate, with a nudge from Chairman Choi, would have it, the eggs didn't end up in the vanilla ice cream cup. Instead, following Chairman Choi's instructions, they were placed in the chocolate ice cream cup, ensuring they went to Go-eun's ex-boyfriend, astronaut and scientist Kang Kang-seo, Oh Young-se. The reasoning was that Kang-soo, with his extensive experience in zero gravity, was better suited to handle such an unconventional situation. Besides, it was no secret that Chairman Choi preferred Kang-soo over Ryong. Go-eun's daughters remain upset, leading to an awkward call where she apologizes to Ryong, revealing her father's deception. Ryong, despite his impressive qualifications, has been reduced to little more than a glorified courier. Meanwhile, Go-eun drops another bombshell. Her untrustworthy ex-boyfriend is stationed on the space station and is responsible for coordinating the critical zero-gravity fertilization process. When Ryong confronts Kang-soo about the situation involving Minyoung's eggs, Kang-soo defends himself with cold logic and visible anger. He emphasizes his extensive experience in zero-gravity environments, which far outweighs Ryong's novice attempts to navigate space. On a personal note, Kang-soo accuses Ryong of having destroyed his future child. This accusation hints at either a lack of concern for Go-eun's safety during her pregnancy, a failure to understand the circumstances surrounding the pregnancy's termination, or, most likely, that Kang-soo has been fed false information by Chairman Choi. It's difficult to imagine that Ryong would go to such great lengths for someone he doesn't truly care for, right? This leads Mina Lee, Lee Cho-hee, who also portrays Mina's twin sister Dona, and Lee Sung-joon, Hyo Nam-joon, the other astronauts aboard the space station, to question whether he's genuinely a gold digger aiming to gain favor with his potential father-in-law. However, Ryong's motives reveal a different story. Instead of bargaining for personal gain, he requests the IVF results to be made public if he succeeds and asks Chairman Choi to invest in a space-based fertility clinic. His goal is to give others in similarly desperate circumstances the chance to have children. If the writers intended to give our protagonist a greater purpose, this particular attempt falls short for several reasons. First, this type of research seems to primarily benefit the extremely wealthy who can afford to send their samples into space, which makes it far less altruistic than Ryong portrays it to be. Second, Ryong's choice aligns too conveniently with Chairman Choi's outdated belief in prioritizing family lineage above all else, considering that Ryong was raised by 3 adoptive aunties after being orphaned. It feels inconsistent that he would emphasize this research over other meaningful options, like adoption. On the other hand, his focus on supporting women who long to experience biological motherhood might stem from his own loss, as his mother passed away shortly after his birth. Hopefully, the writers delve deeper into his motivations to make them more consistent with his personal background. However, for Ryong to secure the space research clinic, he must first demonstrate his value. A chance to set the stage for his success arises when one of Eve's lab mice exhibits aggressive behavior, attacking the female mice in its enclosure. While Kang-soo and Tae-hui agree on following standard protocol to euthanize the mouse, Eve opposes the idea. She not only feels a personal connection to the test subject but also argues that investigating the root cause of the aggression could help avoid similar issues and delays in their research. During the debate, the mouse unexpectedly goes into cardiac arrest. When chest compressions fail to revive it, Ryong proposes performing an open-chest cardiac massage. The entire scene feels overly dramatic and exaggerated, making it hard not to empathize with Kang-soo, who remains in the background with his arms crossed, watching skeptically. The entire scene feels overly dramatic and exaggerated, making it hard not to empathize with Kang-soo, who remains in the background with his arms crossed, watching skeptically. The groundbreaking surgery in space was not only a remarkable success but also marked a historic milestone as the first ever performed beyond Earth. Tae-hui wastes no time in sharing the news with the media, resulting in an immediate boost to Ryong's reputation. Even Chairman Choi, despite his usual reluctance, acknowledges Ryong's achievement while watching the broadcast. Back aboard the space station, Eve, overcome with joy, embraces Ryong. Setting aside her earlier insistence on formality, she tells him he can simply call her Eve. As she celebrates the accomplishment with unrestrained enthusiasm, Ryong's expression betrays a realization he's unprepared for. He's starting to fall for her. In his daze, he doesn't notice Go-eun's congratulatory call coming through. I'll admit, I've playfully critiqued Lee Min-ho's tendency to take on certain archetypal roles in the past. But I have to say, I'm genuinely enjoying his performance here. Instead of embodying his usual princely personas, Ryong comes across as more of an everyday hero. Much like Forrest Gump. He stumbles both unintentionally and reluctantly through a string of absurdly extraordinary situations. He's imperfect, or at least as imperfect as a Lee Min-ho character can be, and doesn't always seem to narrate his own story reliably. This makes me wonder how much of what we're seeing reflects reality. Could it all be an exaggerated tale, similar to the embellished life recap we saw in episode 1? Even if there's no major twist and the events are as they appear, I'm still loving the quirky vibe of the story. Honestly, I didn't anticipate starting 2025 discussing crooked sperm or flies engaging in space adventures. But hey, stranger things have happened. All in all, it's a fun way to kick off the new year.